Brush markers are a great art medium. In this video, we'll look at some tips, some examples to help us focus our efforts in learning, and some application pitfalls and techniques. Here's a Copic Sketchmarker, and one end is a brush marker. It's called a brush marker because there is a certain flexibility in the nib, which allows the creation of different effects and gives the effect a bit between that of a marker and a brush. With the Copic sketch markers, there is also a traditional chisel end. But I want to start with 5 quick tips up front, which are either great things to do or important things to bear in mind as we start to explore the use of Copic sketch brush markers. Copic and other brush markers come in a range of colours. There's 358 with Copic, and they can be used to some considerable effect. But for my first tip, I suggest there's a lot of advantage in sticking to monochromatic work while we get used to using the brush markers and the way the ink flows from the brush and the effect it has on the paper. With Copic, there are 11 shades of a colour they call neutral grey, which is the one I use. Although there's also warm grey and cool grey, which have an additional lighter shade, for a total of 12. By using shades of the one colour, we have far less variables to juggle, and we can more easily become proficient in learning and using the characteristics of the brush nibs. My second tip is to prepare a colour chart for whatever tones you buy. N is the Copic code for neutral grey, and then we add the colour. This is incredibly useful when we're applying the tone to our line drawing to work out what tone we actually want to use, rather than trial and error on our artwork. Now, the Copic brand is not a cheap one. You probably don't need to buy the full range. That going up to N6 will give you all the variation you need for very effective artworks, and particularly if you're going to photograph them for social media, that you can see that 7, 8, 9 and 10 all look fairly similar through the camera. So make one of these colour charts, as I call them, and keep it handy every drawing. My third tip is about the paper. Whatever paper you end up deciding to use the same paper all the time. Different weights of papers and different surfaces of papers create a different effect with the ink and need a different dynamic with our hand and arm work to create the effect we want. And if we change from paper to paper, then it's much more difficult to develop an effective technique using the brush markers. I use a 210 GSM drawing cartridge. I find it's a good combination of thickness and heaviness, but also with just enough surface texture to help with the creation of texture for various drawing subjects. My fourth quick starting tip is if you intend to combine the brush marker lines with Multiliner lines, it's best to use the same brand. Copic sketch inks are alcohol-based inks, and other brands are not necessarily resistant to the ink. What this means is that we can have an outline, we can apply the brush marker over the top without it smudging. I've learnt from experience that's not necessarily the case with other fine liners. And my fifth quick tip is that the ink dries lighter, which is a really important thing to remember when we're actually placing the ink on the paper, that we have to give it a moment to dry lighter before we judge whether we want to leave what we've done or put more tone onto the top. See how that looks darker? I can see it fading already. And just before we look at techniques for applying the ink, let's have a quick look at some of the results we can get by using the brush markers. Because we're not talking about colouring in. We can actually use brush markers to create really significant, even lifelike effects for quite complex scenes of all manner of subjects. It's good to have in our head the possibilities for the end results, so that as we learn to use the materials, we have a sense of where we're trying to push our skills and techniques to. I chose Copic because they were the ones that happened to be in the first shop I went into. These are some of the effects you can create using just the brush end of the Copic Sketchmarkers. It's a very effective way of helping to create a sense of distance with closer and further objects, as well as to distinguish different textures or structures such as these trees. And this can create some quite dramatic effects as we pull things closer to us using very dark tones. And we can use a very wide range of tones and create effects such as lighter areas of shadow, darker areas of deep shadow, and even the weathering staining the dome of St. Paul's Cathedral here. We can combine light and dark areas to help significant objects such as this spire of St. Paul's to stand out more from the background around them. We can create very dramatic high contrast that helps create the sense of early morning, or in this case, late afternoon. And there's an ability to create quite subtle effects applying the tone with the brush markers that we don't get with the chisel markers, that even in dark areas give a soft, mellow feel. We can create the effects of reflections, almost a water-like reflection in this highly polished cathedral floor. We can create quite dramatic interior lighting effects, creating the sense not just of light, but of deep shadows and even of the mottled pattern on these marble pillars, and capture the sense of quite dark interior spaces. I like the way brush markers let us represent the effect of foliage really effectively, creating a great contrast of form as well as value against the architecture. We can use them in quite complex foliage areas and even in difficult areas of jumbles of plants combined with line. We can create both a sense of the jumble and the shadows and the darkness, but also maintain a sense of separation of individual plants in this thick concentration of shrubs. With the strong contrast, we can effectively bring across the sense of a really sunny day. We can go from very simple light effects of a bedside lamp to capturing the feel of an outside nighttime scene. G'day, I'm Stephen Travers. If you're finding this video helpful, please hit subscribe, hit notifications. You can find out when I post some more. And I've got several specifically on applying tone to line drawings, if you want to check them out. Let's get back to the brush markers. In my experience, the single most important factor to the effect we achieve with our Copic sketch brush nibs is the evenness of the speed we draw our lines with. Clearly, the longer the line is in contact with the paper, in other words, the slower we draw the line, the more ink can flow onto or into the paper. But this creates a certain characteristic which is unfortunate if we don't want it. It's best seen when we want to apply tone from a straight edge. Watch what tends to happen. Because we slow down as we position our nib in the starting point, but we then move it across the paper relatively quickly, there is a much higher concentration of ink deposited in that place where we first rest our brush nib, and as well as depositing a much heavier line of ink. And because we go across and down, and there's a heavier deposit of ink as we get ready to move our stroke, it gives the effect all the way down of a much darker line. And we also have the problem that so much ink is being deposited down here, and as there's always overlap of ink on ink, that the paper fills up and the ink spreads further, and we actually get bleed over our line, which has happened here as well. What's the solution? Well, the solution is to try not to do it, unless it's an effect that we want. But one way we can try and manage it is to be very light with our touch as we go across. So we position just above the paper, not actually on the paper. And then we come from the opposite direction. Now it will be unavoidable that there is some darkening on the edges But if we want a more even colour the whole way across, we can then just deposit ink on that centre part. And although it looks patchy when we do it, as it dries it does even out a whole lot more. It's important also to realise that the strengths of the markers is not smooth flat colour over large areas. I'm using an N5, a mid-tone neutral grey. But let's say we want to create an effect of going from lighter to darker. To create a gradation of tone that disappears into no tone at all, what's the best way to do that? Well, I'm using the N0, I'm using the lightest tone. So now I'm going to switch to my N1 and I'm going to start in the same place, but I'm going to finish before I get to the end point of the N0. And now, as you've probably guessed, I'm going to find an N2 and we'll complete it with an N3. And there we have a gradation effect. Or if we want it to be more subtle, we can just do it with the one tone. Now, because these contain an ink, in theory, layering over the top of what we've already applied shouldn't really change the colour or the darkness of the colour, because the colour of the ink is the colour of the ink. But in practice, we can draw in a way to minimise the absorption of ink or to maximise the absorption of ink to get a greater variety of darkness or lightness with the one tone. So I'm using N4 here. So there I have a very light, brisk approach. Now I've gone over it twice, and now I'll see how dark I can make it in this third box. Really what I'm doing here is I'm saturating the paper with the ink so that there's no particles of paper showing through to create the effect of lightening that we see in the first and second boxes. And if I turn over the paper, we can see that the effect comes from the absorption of the ink in the paper. In this first one, we really only see the ink at the starting point of the line. In the second one, we can actually see a slight greyness between the two lines, and it's considerably more in this third one, as the greater amount of ink has soaked into the paper, getting closer to the other side. And this is particularly good if we haven't been able to buy the full range of tones that we would like, because we can give ourselves some linkage between the various tones by doubling down with the lighter tone to create a darker one, or by going lighter with a darker tone to create a lighter one. It also depends on the paper you're using. But I find my 210 GSM drawing cartridge is a good option for being able to take advantage of this. I want to have a closer look at this scene to highlight some further techniques we can use with the brush nibs sketch markers. If we zoom in a bit, it's to look to see how, as well as using these markers for areas of tone, we can also use them as lines and as dots. And I find to combine them with actual line from our multiliners, from our fine liners, we can create very effective textures, such as this gravelly path texture, or this leafy shrub that's half in deep shade and half in sunlight, or the dappled effect of sunlight coming through leaves with some in deeper shadow, some in lighter shadow. And if we look at this scene, particularly at these cobblestones in the foreground, we can see how relatively short flat lines of various tones can echo the effect of the different colours of the pavers, or that some of them might be in shadow. And the realism of this is greatly increased if, as well as using our tones to indicate the stones, we flatten our lines so they become thinner and thinner as they move back to reflect the foreshortening that's happening. I'll just point out here a very effective technique using these markers is to use them to highlight areas of details against other areas of details. So by making this wall under the awning very dark, it really separates and pushes forward the people walking in the street much closer to us as the viewer. These are the little things we can exaggerate even beyond our reference to increase not just the ease of identifying the various components in a very busy scene, but also to create greater visual drama. If you look up here, you can see how I've actually combined the tone with line work. So it's not either or for creating our colour and our shadows. That tone on top of line can work really effectively as well. Using the fine liner, I'm able to get much finer detail with the suggestion of these leaves, which really brings this tree much closer to us as the viewer, because instinctively we know if we can see things more clearly, particularly small things, they're closer to us.